on my sofa with Taarak Mehta Gold Chashmah playing. That is important.
गुलदस्ता दो यार. Welcome to keeping it real. Welcome to keeping it real.
It's really touching. But यार क्या वीडियो बनाए हुए हैं और मतलब अभी तो हम ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड है ना.
Hello, welcome everyone to Keeping It Real. This is a place where we have candid conversations with people who are making real impact in the life of thousands of people across India. Masai School was started in 2019, and in the last 5 years, we have placed more than 7,000 students and helped them start their career in tech. Today, with me, I have the first employee of Masai School. He has been instrumental in creating the curriculum. He is the man whose guidance is like golden words for every learner. A man who is loved by all, hated by none. He is the Jeetu Bhaiya of Masai School. Please welcome Mr. Aman Vats.
Thank you, Akshad.
Hello Aman, how are you?
I'm good. Hated by none. Not sure, but okay, I agree. Yeah.
So Aman, I want to start with the first question for you is आपकी journey के बारे में बात करते हैं.
Sure.
Before you joined Masai, you were at EXL.
That's correct.
As an analyst.
Yeah.
How did you decide or to move from EXL to a startup?
Got it.
किसी भले इंसान ने आपको बोला नहीं कि बहुत बड़ा रिस्क ले रहे हो?
Let me start. वो भला इंसान हमारे CEO ही थे सबसे पहले. And the first call he mentioned was, क्यों कर रहा है तू ये? You know, why are you doing this? Because you are in a pretty settled 30,000 employee company. Here we are 3. So 30,000 to 3 वो डर नहीं लग रहा, वो रिस्क नहीं लग रहा. And of course, family also mentions this कि यार वो एक बहुत ही settled life है, वो क्यों करना है? There are two primary reasons why I wanted to do this. First one is from the kind of family I come from the kind of background I come from. I have seen the impact of education in my life, and I'm not making this up. This is something that I've realized with me and my brothers and many of my friends while growing up. तो ये तो पक्का था कि education में कुछ करना है. Campus placement हुआ. I went to EXL. I was working in credit analytics. Pretty cool domain to work in terms of 21st century data science and credit analytics. Amazing time, but education में कुछ करना था. That was there. That's first. And second is something that my brother told, younger brother, कि अगर अभी risk नहीं लेगा तो you will set a threshold for yourself. तो तू कभी भी इससे ज़्यादा risk नहीं ले पाएगा. And which was like यार ये बहुत ही amazing बात है. I think these two became the primary cause to enable me to take that risk and education में कुछ करना था. And then only the article came up Times of India का कि Masai starting up. So it was like outcome based education में already कुछ करना था. This is the perfect time, right? So that's when I just reached out to Pratik and got onboarded. Like a long process, but yeah, got onboarded. And since then it's been 5 years, 3-4 months now. Amazing journey so far. Amazing journey.
That's very inspirational. But I want to circle back to one thing you mentioned.
Sure.
कि आपके छोटे भाई ने बोला रिस्क. बर्फी में एक डायलॉग है, लाइफ में सबसे बड़ा रिस्क ये है कोई रिस्क नहीं लेना.
Correct.
So do you think it was worth taking the risk?
It was 100% worth taking the risk. I mean, then of course I had doubt कि भाई क्या होगा, है ना, 3 ही लोग हैं, कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं हो जाएगी, कुछ बंद तो नहीं हो जाएगा. Of course you had those doubts because and particularly when the kind of company you come from where अच्छा आपको कैब जाना है वो भी reimburse, आपने ये खाना खाया वो भी reimburse, with that like everything is taken care of. वहाँ से you're like अच्छा 30,000 से 3 employees only. Okay, and when you join, you're like, you have to set up the entire curriculum. I was like, ठीक है. So risk तो लगा, but in retrospection, and most of the people make stories in retrospection, I will also make now, that in retrospection, it seems like everything was, planned for it.
Meant to be.
Meant to be, exactly.
So you, let's also talk about the curriculum. You say you had a lot of passion to do something in education.
Right.
But when you were in college or before you were in college, was something that you've done?
Of course. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So one thing I figured out, and I think of myself as a very structural person. Methodical जो कहते हैं, not structural is not the right word. So one thing that I realized when I was in my 12th standard is I used to teach my brother's brother and his friends. One thing I figured out that I'm good at making someone understand what I understand. और मैंने proper analysis करी थी अपनी डायरी में कि what are the careers that enable this? Teaching, lawyer, sales. I wrote down everything. like pros and cons of each. इम्पैक्ट वाला एक एंगल टीचिंग में शायद सबसे ज़्यादा था, लॉयर में भी हो सकता है बट टीचिंग में सबसे ज़्यादा था. सो दैट्स हाउ आई नैरोड डाउन टू टीचिंग. फिर बात आती है द डे आई गेव माई JEE, नेक्स्ट ओनली आई स्टार्टेड टीचिंग. In college I have taught like many different kind of student, and I'll tell you some interesting stories as well. Different kinds से मेरा मतलब I've taught students of class 1, class 2, standard 1, standard 2, और उनकी curiosity is something that I haven't still seen in my graduates of Masai as well. मतलब something like कि इतना obvious question जो हम कभी सोचते भी नहीं है, वो वाले questions. Other than that I taught kids of non-teaching staff, those who can't afford to send them to tuitions. So जो गार्डनर होते थे, जो कैंपस में रहते थे, BIT मेस्ट्रा के कैंपस में रहते थे, जो कॉलेज की बसेस वगैरह ड्राइव करते थे, उनके जो बच्चे होते थे, I used to teach them because not, I mean, somewhat because of I wanted to do that and also because I'm part of NSS. तो and they really liked me teaching, first standard, second standard, third standard के बच्चे. So it time and again it got validated कि हाँ यार इसमें मुझे भी मजा आता है when 3 hours pass and I don't know कि 3 घंटे बीत गए. I'm also enjoying, they're also enjoying. There was no NPS, but it was visible on their face that NPS is good only. तो मुझे लगा कि exactly that's the right thing. But when campus placement started, I got placed into the domain of sciences, data sciences. But again, as I mentioned, the plan was always to come back to education. And that's why I executed it.
So how was the journey of doing the curriculum for Masai? Like, just take us really quick through how did you decide, like you said, you knew that you're good at explaining what you understand to others. Then now you're talking about something very different when you're talking about outcome-based education.
True.
We are talking about building people's careers.
True.
We are talking about all this in a place where you have an education system that hasn't changed much.
True.
So there's one dilemma of, okay, I know how to teach something differently, but my current education system is centuries old.
True.
So that's one angle. And second, then based on this, how did you decide to build Masai's curriculum? If you could take us real quick through that.
Beautiful question. Yeah, I'll definitely. I mean, this is, I'm not sure of the forthcoming questions, but this is my favorite question for sure. Because very few people can understand how it's like to teach computer science to a student who was 12th pass out or who has never known of engineering, teaching them to an extent that in 7 months they are able to crack companies like CoinSwitch and Paytm. It's a lot of hard work and science that goes into it. And I'll tell you how we actually approached it. There are many pedagogical principles which already exist. Pedagogy basically for all our viewers, how you teach. Curriculum is what you teach, pedagogy is how you teach. There exist a lot, but we didn't want to, explore those initially, and we wanted to approach it from first principle. And few things which worked out really well, and I'll tell you some example. Like what we used to call it as, so I'll tell you something, a simple way of explaining a concept. Like if there is a concept called binary search, I will not go and teach you binary search and then give you questions, which classically our education system does. What we would do is, we would let you struggle with a question of binary search.
Okay.
ये आपको करना है, ये problem एक बार solve करो. Now student is approaching problem हो नहीं पा रहा, कुछ लोगों से हो गया 1%. 99%, 1% those are naturally smart. 99% those who are not able to do it. But what happens with time is their mind naturally starts creating a void. कि वो क्या है जो मैं मिस कर रहा हूँ? I have explored everything. वो क्या है जो मैं मिस कर रहा हूँ? जैसे ही void बना, then you explain, अच्छा इस question को ऐसे कर सकते हो. By the way, इस concept को binary search कहते हैं. Okay. So exactly flip of how classical education system works. Like it's a top-down method. I'm not saying कि learn addition, love, subtraction, learn this, then I'll give you this sum. I'll just directly throw you in the problem. कि यार तुम्हें 10 पेंसिल खरीदना है, तुम्हारे पास 12 पेन है, हर एक पेन का कॉस्ट 5 रुपए, क्या तुम 10 पेंसिल खरीद पाओगे अगर पेन बेच सको? अब इस प्रोसेस में वो एडिशन, सब्ट्रैक्शन, मल्टीप्लिकेशन सब सीख जाएगा. यूनिटरी मेथड खुद से सीख जाएगा. इंस्टेड ऑफ टीचिंग कि ये होता है यूनिटरी मेथड एंड दिस इज हाउ यू कैन डू इट. So this top-down method of learning has worked out amazingly well. And I'll also call out one person who was always there to guide me, to give that direction ki how you can approach this and how you can approach this in a first principle manner, which was Nupul, our co-founder. Right? He was there with me in defining that curriculum. So I was definitely there in execution, but Nupul's role was like something unparalleled, right? While guiding or giving you that direction. Someone with that expertise in education as well as technology was unparalleled. So, I mean, this is just one of those examples that how we approached Masai's curriculum. Another example that comes to top of my mind is ladder-based approach, right? Many times you would have heard or seen in books like R.S. Agarwal used to be a book, very famous book.
Yes.
They would have,
Nightmare for a lot of people.
yeah, I think all of those who have completed 10th, and I think most of you have completed 10th, huh? Okay, have gone through RS Agrawal. So what, and NCRT is another extreme. What happens is RS Agrawal has a lot of example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ऐसे दर 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 करके, और फिर एक क्वेश्चन होता है जो आपको सॉल्व करना होता है जो एक्जैक्टली सेम होता है इस 5 क्वेश्चन की तरह. आप सेम मेथड लगा के कर देते हो और आपकी लर्निंग नहीं होती. यू जस्ट कॉपीड व्हाट यू, आई मीन व्हाट अदर एग्जांपल्स हैड. देन देयर इज अनदर बुक कॉल्ड एनसीईआरटी जो सब लोगों ने अगेन पढ़ा होगा. उसमें होता है यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन, अगला क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे. एनालॉजी में अगर आपको दूं तो बात ऐसी है कि लेट्स से इफ आई गिव यू अ लैडर जो कि पूरा स्मूथ है, आप नहीं चढ़ पाओगे. एक दूसरा लैडर जिसमें एक स्टेप और दूसरे स्टेप के बीच में बहुत गैप है, आप नहीं चढ़ पाओगे. सो अ लॉट ऑफ वर्क इन मसाई हैज गॉन इनटू डिफाइनिंग करिकुलम एंड असाइनमेंट कि आप ये कर रहे हो, अच्छा जस्ट ट्राई दिस, एंड इफ वी फील कि इस गैप में ज्यादा है तो विल प्लग इन 2 more steps. सो व्हाट वी कॉल एज, इसको हम कहते हैं लैडर बेस्ड लर्निंग. उसमें बहुत ज्यादा काम हुआ इन लास्ट 5 years as to how exactly we can challenge you. There's a Goldilocks principle. You enjoy something that you feel is challenging, and at the same time you feel कि ये कर सकता हूँ मैं. It should be in that range. अगर एक्सट्रीम पे होगा कि यार ये बहुत ईजी, आप एंजॉय नहीं करोगे. अगर लगेगा कि अनअचीवेबल है तो भी आप नहीं करोगे. So that's what Goldilocks principle is. The entire curriculum and assignment of Masai is defined on that. So just 2 examples to give you an idea of how we principally thought of it from the fundamental things which already exist. तो ऐसे हमने इस पूरे प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व किया. अदरवाइज इट वाजंट पॉसिबल टू टीच 70% नॉन इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट एंड मेक देम अ कंप्यूटर साइंस और अ सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर इन 7 months or an analyst in 7 months.
I think that's what always struck with me as well. That how do you teach tech to non-tech people?
Exactly.
And so to follow up on that, you have taught hundreds and thousands of students. You've been saying you taught class 1 students now, and techie. You've been building techies for the past 5 years. What is the one thing that you have learned from your students?
Wow, I thought that was the best question. But yeah, equally ladder. Okay, nice. Wow. So I think there are a lot of things that you can actually learn from Masai students, and this is something which I have realized time and again after teaching them. Wow, this is also something that I didn't know that you can approach it this way. So there are 2 kinds of personality when you are learning something. Okay, one is who will learn, and this is a application based subject. I mean, this is not a knowledge based subject like histories. When did India win its first World Cup? 1983. You know it or you don't know it. It's knowledge based. But computer science is an application based subject. Even if you know, can you apply it is the question. So in every application based subject, there are 2 kinds of students is what I have seen. One who would see the question, approach it, assignment, problem, whatever, application, and he'll be like कि यार ये मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, मैं तो कैपेबल ही नहीं हूँ. ठीक है, मैं तो कैपेबल ही नहीं हूँ, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, मेरे में कुछ गड़बड़ी है, या फिर मेरी काबिलियत, आई एम नॉट दैट स्मार्ट इनफ. That second kind of student, and most of our students when they start up, when they start the curriculum, they are of the first kind only. And when I start mentioning that you have to shift this mindset, कि you have to go with that mindset कि अच्छा मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, what is that I'm missing out? That puzzle जैसे आप solve करते हो ना, instead of doubting your intelligence, go with कि यार मैं क्या miss कर रहा हूँ. If you go with that curiosity, that learning will be natural. मेरे को सबसे बड़ी जो learning रही है मसाई स्टूडेंट से, वो इस माइंडसेट से इस माइंडसेट में शिफ्ट कर जाते हैं जो मैंने दुनिया में बहुत कम देखा है होते हुए. आई मीन चेंजिंग योर माइंडसेट बियॉन्ड एज इज नॉट पॉसिबल बिकॉज यू गेट रिजिड. मैंने इनमें देखा है कि यार starting first 5 weeks they'll be like self doubt, and you will keep on pushing कि it's not you, it's the subject which is difficult, it's meant to be difficult. They understand it, and 6th 7th week से they start, and that's a beautiful shift. They're like कि हाँ यार मैं capable हूँ, ये question difficult, it will take 30 minutes. It's like gym. आप अगर सुबह में 5 किलो बेरली उठा पा रहे हो तो ऐसा नहीं दिन भर आप एक्सरसाइज करोगे, दिन भर प्रोटीन लोगे तो रात को 20 किलो उठाने लग जाओगे. That's not how it happens. The body will take its own course of time, right? They somehow understand that mindset. So the thing that I've learned is being adaptable in terms of mindset. और वो बहुत ही amazing चीज है for someone like 25 years old to understand this and shift the mindset. And I think that comes because they really respect what we are saying, और वो उस चीज पे अगर भैया ये कह रहे हैं तो ये मैं करूँगा, and they follow that religiously. So 2 parts, that mindset adaptable and religiously following what your instructor, Bhaiya, whatever they call it, is following.
This the journey of like the student that you mentioned, it just somehow reminds me of the movie Rocky. Rocky Balboa.
I'm a big fan of Rocky Balboa. Yes.
It just reminds me of that, the transition, the shift in mindset, never giving up, perseverance.
True. And big fan of Sylvester Stallone as well. If you don't know about Sylvester Stallone, there is a I think, what is it called? No, not biography. A movie on him on Netflix recently released. Do watch that. But before that, do watch Rocky series. Amazing series. If you are lacking motivation, do it. Do watch it.
Awesome, Aman. So, till now we have spoken about how Masai curriculum came into existence, or the things you've learned from students, and how really amazing Masai students are, where they're going from having a 25-year-old having to change their mindset and then transition into tech. But I want to ask, there might be a lot of success stories, but tell me one story about a student that is in your head, which makes you feel ki bhai, this is why I love what I do.
Okay. There's one student, and I'll tell you in form of a story, not in form of a, what he achieved before, after. But back then we used to have offline campuses. Okay, so I mean, just for the first 2-3 batches in 2019 and 2020, we used to have offline campuses. Once I took all my students out, okay, it was a wonderful evening in Bangalore, in the heart of Korabangla. The student is from a rural part of Jharkhand. Okay, and then you are having this conversation. This student was very hardworking, is very hardworking, but not the smartest of the lot. Okay, and then the conversation was going on, and he was someone who used to work like 17-18 hours because he knew he was not the smartest, so he had to work hard to catch up with them. And I asked him this question: what keeps you going? क्या है ऐसा जो तू इतनी मेहनत करता है? क्या है जो तू हमेशा लगा रहता है ना? He said something that stays with me forever, and that will stay with me forever. And I think everyone who relates themselves with a middle class family, a lower middle class particularly, will be able to relate to this. We were sitting in Forum Mall, okay, Koramangala. He said that, when you see the things around, the shop, the center, everything. My mother has never seen this kind of life. I mean, life can be this comfortable. I want to show my parents this life. And that's why I want to work hard. That's why I want to ensure that they also see this life. वो story, वो student मुझे हमेशा ध्यान में आता है. First month salary got 60,000. I was like कि भैया इतने पैसों का क्या करते हैं 60,000? Because still then he was living in some 1,000 rupees to 2,000, 3,000 bare minimum rupees. That story remains with me.
I'm speechless. This is, I think a lot of us relate to it, and I relate to it on many levels. कि मैं जो experience कर रहा हूँ, I want my parents to experience the same thing.
उस टाइम पे I got really emotional. मैंने कहा यार ये तूने बहुत बड़ी बात कह दी है, तूने आसानी से कही है, तूने बहुत बड़ी बात कही है. But फिर भी ये बात सुनना कि ये जो चहल पहल आप देख रहे हो, ये जो आप अच्छी लाइफ देख रहे हो, ये मैं अपने पेरेंट्स को देना चाहता हूँ. That's a big statement coming out of 25 years old.
True. Yeah. Kudos to, I think that's one story that sums up the spirit of Masai.
Exactly.
And what a Masai graduate
100%,
is.
100%.
Okay. After a very beautiful story, I want to go to a rapid fire round.
All right.
थोड़ा interesting कुछ
Nervous, excited. Go ahead.
थोड़ा ऐसा.
All right.
वो कौन सा है वो Mission Impossible वाला? Henry Cavill का. Henry Cavill does this.
नहीं यार,
This in Mission Impossible.
not a movie, like big movie buff. Creed Rocky देखी है मैंने, but I have not seen this.
ठीक है. Anyway, so here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First question. One word to describe your journey at Masai.
Impactful.
If you could give one advice to the Aman who joined Masai on day one, what would that be?
Don't be afraid of failures. It's part of the journey.
Embrace the failures. One skill that every student must learn irrespective of their career paths.
Ability to learn something new.
A book that you recommend to everyone.
Shoe Dog by Nike founder.
Oh, I love that book.
Amazing book.
Favorite place to grab food after a long day at Masai?
on my sofa with Taarak Mehta Chashmah playing. That is important. That's important. It doesn't matter if it's Maggi or simple dal makhni or chicken, whatever. Taarak Mehta should play.
If you could swap places with one person at Masai, who would that be?
Oh wow, that's not easy. Maybe no. Okay, with one place, I think.
A few moments later.
Oh, अबे यार कितना difficult पूछे हो, रुक जाओ.
One eternity later.
Super challenging what I'm going to be saying. It's super challenging, but I would love to swap or just for one day try in the shoes of Nupal. It was curriculum, outcomes, technology, being a co-founder, so everything. That's very, very difficult, and I want to see. And he's very methodical as well. Like he's very structured in everything. So I want to see how structurally he solves problems. He's one of those persons who is very methodical, but at the same time creative as well. Generally, I don't see this combination. He's one of those. I have seen people having one of either of these, but both of these. So aspiration, I want to swap with him, but aspiration, I won't be able to. I think.
Okay. Last question. One trend in tech that you think will change the world?
I think it's everywhere. I need not say it. It's like starts with A, ends with I. It's artificial intelligence. I think there is no doubt about it. Everyone's talking about it, and for right reasons.
You mentioned AI. How important is it for anyone to know it, and what is the depth to which I should know as a non-tech person or a tech person? In both cases, what is the depth to it I should learn AI?
Got it. Very, very important question. I think as a I will bifurcate in two answers. As a non-techie, again, you should know the application where all it can be useful. Like if you don't know the scope of it, right, then you will not be able to understand what all it can enable for you. I mean, everyone knows, be it through the real ads and everywhere, that GPT, is something. But there are many such tools right now. I mean, which can help you do basic analysis as well, right? You upload a sheet of data, a CSV of data, and ask him that tell me the top 3 customers who are paying from the North India region and transacting 2,000 every order. It will do that for you. You don't need an analyst to do that for you, right? So as a non-techie, you should be comfortable with all these tools to be able to do that. As someone in techie, you should know at least one level under what it's happening. Like for example, and I'll tell you why that is. As a non-techie also, if you can know, please do. Do try to learn that up. But that's not a must-have for you. For a techie, I think you should know one layer deeper. What I mean by one layer deeper, like if you are talking with GPT, you should understand how these LLMs work, what happens exactly. I mean, how does probability comes into picture, so that you know where it can make mistakes as well, right? And how to correct those things. So one layer deeper, you should definitely know. Like one thing is application, but many techies, what they're doing is they're going into the maths of it, like going through the calculus. And I mean, if you're going to be someone who is going to make their career in AI, like specializing in AI, you need to know the maths. But if you're someone who is like a computer science, a software engineer who is not necessarily a data scientist, like a software engineer who's building web application, for them, I think they just need to know all the tools out there and what is one layer deeper just.
But isn't that easier said than done? Like for example, someone, if even in marketing, we hear a lot about how AI tools are being used to create content in XYZ.
True.
How do I tackle that anxiety or that insecurity कि यार AI मेरी job खा जाएगा? How do I be secure about it that no, this won't replace me? Like, is upskilling the only way to do that, or is actually being confident in your skill? Like, how do I get away with that anxiety or that insecurity?
I think it's simple. All you need to do is, like, if you are in marketing, I mean, you are in marketing, but those who are in their different respective fields, just ask AI to write a pitch to a potential customer of yours, and you also write, and show both to your managers. If yours is approved, then you are safe as of now. And I am sure right now yours will be approved. Yours will get a better rating because it has that human touch, right? So I think that's what you can do right now, and I would suggest you also try this tomorrow.
Interesting. My question now, let's come a little bit to AI and education.
Okay.
We've spoken at length about how education system the pedagogy hasn't changed much.
Right.
But there is someone like we are at the forefront of changing the way we teach. Now, how do you think AI is shaping, or AI would shape the way students are learning?
Beautiful. Yeah, understood. I think it. First of all, I would recommend everyone to watch a TED talk by Salman Khan, not Big Boss wala Salman Khan, but Sal Khan from Khan Academy.
I was TED talks. Salman Khan, ek line.
Sal Khan is Khan Academy founder, and he has talked brilliantly about something called as finally being able to crack the personal tutor wala bit, not the ones which are claimed by different edtechs, but actually personal tutoring. What it eventually means is, let's say both of us join a class, okay, and both of us are being taught how to find a plus b whole square, okay. Let's say, the class got over in 5 minutes, okay. We were given a question, both of us were given the same question. You did it correctly, I did it incorrectly, right? You will move on to the next part of the section. What I'll go through is, I'll go through the same topic in a 10 minutes manner now by the same instructor, right? So the idea is the same face, same voice is teaching me, but right now, basis my performance adaptively, it is going to teach me in a slower manner, give me more analogies, give me more examples for better understanding, because I'm a slow learner. It's okay. I may have some another capability. I may be better at connecting dots, right? Just that you are a slow learner, right? And then both of us will eventually reach at the same point. Just that you took 5 minutes to do that, I took 15 minutes to do that. So first bit is we are finally very close to cracking the personal tutoring wala bit. And it is said that the average performance of the class, there is some study, I don't remember, done by Bloom's only. The average performance of the class, I think improves by 60% or so. Please don't quote me on this data, it may be wrong. If you have a personal tutoring. So actually it is proven that if you have a personal tutor, but that's when also Bloom has raised this concern that it won't be possible because you can't have as many teachers as students. But with AI, you are able to get that done, right? So eventually the personal tutoring bit, and that's I think the biggest improvement that AI can bring in education, that you will have someone with you every time who will guide you and who will not judge you, like many of teachers do.
Right.
कि भाई ये भी नहीं आता तुम्हें. He won't say that. He'll be like, अच्छा ये नहीं आता मुझे, मैं बताता हूँ आपको. Let's say I went through my classes today. Let's forget college. Even school में मैं आज क्लास में था, मेरे को मैथ्स पढ़ाया गया. Let's say रेशियो एंड प्रोपोर्शन पढ़ाया गया. मुझे 60% चीज़ें समझ में आई. अब मैं घर गया हूँ, 9 बजे मैं बैठा हूँ मम्मी के प्रेशर पे कि अब मैं होमवर्क करूँगा. 7 बजे बैठते, मैं थोड़ा नाइट ऑल हूँ तो मैं लेट बैठता था. तो 7 बजे बैठे आप कि होमवर्क करते हैं. अब होमवर्क करते वक्त आपको कुछ डाउट आया. Now you can't go back to your teacher. Now you can't go back. I mean, if you have an elder brother, sister, amazing. But then you don't have an option. Right now you can ask AI, and if you see the best way AI can judge you is by not giving you the right solution, but by nudging you in the right direction. How about thinking in this way, so that you are not becoming crippled, like you are not being completely supported, but you are just getting a direction कि इस दिशा में सोच के बताओ. Then you like अच्छा हाँ ऐसे सोच सकते हैं. So natural thought process also improves, and the second aspect comes in adaptive assignment. है ना, आप क्वेश्चन कर पा रहे हो, आपको हार्ड मिलते जा रहा है तब तक जब तक कि आप चैलेंज नहीं फील कर रहे हो. आप नहीं कर पा रहे हो तो असाइनमेंट का लेवल नीचे हो रहा है, एंड AI adaptively configures कि आप किस पाथ के थ्रू जा रहे हो. So idea is कि हर बच्चा उसी पॉइंट पे पहुंचे जहाँ पे उसको वो पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया, but the path taken varies from different
right.
So that is one thing in class and in assignment designing, where AI has already started, and we are already leveraging both adaptive learning and adaptive assignment in Masai, because it is very good at that. Like if you say I couldn't do this question, can you give me a hint, or can you give me another question which becomes a precursor to that question? It does it beautifully. आपको ऐसा क्वेश्चन देगा जो अगर आप ये कर लोगे तो आपको डेफिनेटली करेगा. एग्जैक्टली. और अगर आप ये भी नहीं कर पा रहे हो, अगर कह दो कि ये भी नहीं कर पा रहा हूं मैं, तो इट विल गिव यू इवन इजियर क्वेश्चन, एंड इवेंचुअली विल गेट यू टू रीच देयर, है ना. सो दैट्स समथिंग phenomenal.
Before we move to the next section,
Sure.
We have made something very special for you.
Okay.
And guys, can we have it?
Wow, I'm excited. Okay.
Over to the screen.
Okay.
So I remember Aman from the first days of Masai, and he was been instrumental in shaping the DSA curriculum in the initial days, being an amazing teacher and mentor to all the students. The great thing about working with him is he's very structured, data oriented, and he has a lot of passion for changing people's life, and he's willing to go to all the extremes to make an impact in students' life. Some of the great moments I remember from his journey at Masai school is, in the initial days, he used to work in the nights and I used to work in the mornings. So all our communication used to happen on Slack. Even though we are part of the same team, even at a small team, we never used to meet for so long, because whenever his day ends, my day starts. These challenges of transforming the students, and he has been able to prove many of the decisions or many of the myths around all the students can't be scaled by truly making them understand all the concepts in the most simplified manner. And I think that's why he earned the name Jeetu Bhaiya for Masai students.
Aman's ability to connect with people makes him approachable and likable. I think what has been very important in his journey over the last 5 years is that he's been able to motivate his team, and not only his team but students as well, and he has driven all of them to success. He's also very business oriented, which makes it the perfect combo of knowing the curriculum plus the business and transitioning from a curriculum engineer to a business head, which has inspired so many employees internally to see such a tremendous growth over the last 5 years. He's also an amazing peer to work with. What makes him a little bit unique as well is his sarcastic humor, which I think helps break a lot of monotonous situations. So yes, we call him the Jeetu Bhaiya of Masai. Aman Vats, I know you're hearing this, and I hope this is something that will bring a smile to your face. Thanks.
Cool. So I was Aman's first hire. I don't know ever, but at Masai for sure. He was my first manager, and he still has been a manager for me. But more than that, I think he's helped me grow. But at the same point of time, he's helped me in a lot of other ways as well. That is for sure. On a personal front, I won't say there's a manager kind of a vibe with him. It's more like a big brother vibe where I just go and tell him whatever is sort of irritating me, whatever is sort of, something that's bothering me, I'll go tell him. Most of the times, what I've realized working with Aman is he's very quick to switch between, let's say, being very focused, but at the same point of time keeping it light, which in general is a very hard quality. So I think that's what makes him a great manager.
Working with Aman is truly inspiring. He allows us to be creative, to experiment, to embrace risks, and I think his approach, encourages us to think beyond the obvious, to think beyond that first order and explore the layers beyond.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. It's really touching. I don't usually get emotional. I would like not to get emotional right now, but few aspects in this video is making me a lot emotional. I mean, thanks to first Nrupal, Ankush, Ishita and Abdul for speaking so many good things about me, which I'm not sure if I have those. But if I have those, thank you so much. But one thing I'd like to highlight here, and I think all the members who have worked with Nrupal knows about it, that it's very difficult to impress Nrupal. I've not explicitly tried it, but it's very difficult to, get Nrupal's point, or 5 out of 5 on Nrupal. He's one of those teachers like, सब अच्छा करा but फिर भी 99 क्यों, but writing अच्छी नहीं है कुछ तो है off, because I also respect those teachers because they always want to keep some gap this is somewhere where you can still have scope of improvement. But coming from Nrupal's, it is really motivating and heart touching as well, because he was the member whom I worked with, and of course he's a morning person and I'm a night owl, so we would talk in chat. And recently when I completed exact 5 years, I went back. Slack has a feature of jump to the beginning. I went back and read for 2-3 months of our chat. It's like all those conversation जो हम सिर्फ chat में ही कर रहे हैं, जो हम मिलते भी थे, but we are like, and that turned out to be a feature, not a bug, because we are very much adapted to async communication. But thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much, the entire marketing team, for putting this up together. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. I really mean it. Thank you. बट यार क्या वीडियो बनाए हुए हैं, और मतलब अभी तो हम ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड है ना,
सब ऑन रिकॉर्ड है, कुछ बंद नहीं है, मतलब ये पूरा एटअप ऐसे ही जाने वाला है।
ठीक है, चलो वही रिएक्शन। थैंक यू सो मच, मतलब बहुत ही प्यारा वीडियो था। और इनमें से आई डोंट नो व्हाट इशिता, बट 3 लोगों को कैमरा पे लाना इज अ डिफिकल्ट टास्क। आई नो दैट बिकॉज़ दे आर माय टीम मेंबर्स, आई नो देम।
That's how much they respect, adore and love you, because it was the easiest task for us. We just had to say अमन के लिए वीडियो बनाना है and everyone was on board.
Amazing.
चलो लास्ट गेम खेलते हैं and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure.
It's very simple, this or that.
Okay.
ठीक है, फटाफट। चाय या कॉफी?
Neither.
पानी?
I mean, I don't drink पानी only, yeah.
Morning person, night owl?
Night owl. I told this 6 times.
Cars or bikes?
Bikes.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Quick call या email?
Email.
Quiet workspace या थोड़ा बहुत background music?
I have a good headphone, so I'll make any workspace quiet.
Lunch break या working lunches?
Lunch break.
That's about it, Aman. Thank you very, very much for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am personally very inspired to especially understand how the effort that went into curriculum, the entire ideology of Masai, the stories that you've shared, and the crux of Masai School, the soul of Masai School coming from the stories that we have about our students. I am very inspired. I'm very happy, and I'm very grateful that you took out the time to speak to us.
Thank you so
Once
much for
again, thank
having
you
me.
very much. I
Thank
hope
you
you
so-
enjoyed it.
I
And
enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The questionnaire, the discussion. I mean, that's what I was telling. I mean, in between when we had a break for 5 minutes, I was having this conversation with Pratik where I mentioned that they reminded me of entire 5 years. I mean, entire 5 years was crossing in front of my eyes because you touched all those pointers, all those conversations, which were like 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23. So thanks for having me. I'm really glad that it was organized really well. So thank you so much, and thanks for that wonderful surprise. And I'm sure you guys would also enjoy watching this. So please do watch this video, like, subscribe, and comment. I'm not a YouTuber, but I know this everyone says. So like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much, Akshad, and the entire marketing team for having me. Thank you. Guys.
thank you very much, Aman.